3 ways to access your unconscious mind and wield its power. This video is a simple invitation for you to not be so afraid of the alternate realities, I'll say, that your psyche produces. Your psyche is always giving you different kinds of impulses and images, and it is within those energy forces that you can experience something that feels a little intrusive, a little erotic, whatever, the case may be. You are experiencing these in the mind's eye constantly throughout the day. So it is kind of silly for us to dismiss them and think of them as, as something that's not important. But the truth is, as the unconscious brings forward these alternate realities, these are the actual bridge, the golden bridge from your unconscious to your conscious to help you reorient and restructure, you know, the version of the self that you are right now. And this is exactly what I talked about in my last video with the unconscious mind, is that we have to build a golden bridge from the conscious mind to the unconscious. We have to walk over there and voluntarily choose to build a bond with the unconscious mind, because that is the reservoir of so many different energies and patterns and, personalities that we could utilize and integrate for ourselves right now, today, right? We're going through the evolutionary process, and we want to kind of go up that beautiful spiral. So, for today's inner work, we will talk about 3 ways that you can access your unconscious mind. Now, let's just jump right into this. The first 2 ways have to do with the psyche, and then the other way has to do with the body. I just kind of planted a seed already. But the 3 ways, it's actually surrounded by, it's like encompassed by the energy of involuntary, impulse, involuntary presence, because it is the involuntary response that we experience in the psyche and in the body that we can actually get outside of the egoic, everyday mundane reality of how things have to be, the structure of things. And it is in the involuntary that we can really take the chaos and the unimaginable, and we can give that, a healthy expression. So it's the 3 ways are actually encompassed by involuntary. Just put that word around these 3 ways. The first one is in your waking day, and that is through your imagination. And I'll kind of, I'll kind of highlight that there's also fantasy in that. So any erotic or intrusive fantasies that you have. When we look at the imagination and we catch ourselves in a daydream, it's almost as if these images that come through, they captivate us, and they just kind of play out. And it's so interesting because the daydream time kind of feels more of like a longing for something to happen, and for, this new maybe reality to partake, and take over our mundane. But it's within the imagination and in your, creative ideas that flow that you can access the unconscious. Now, the second one is in your sleep state, and that's when you're dreaming. That's when you are experiencing a lot of the repressed emotions and the repressed, it's the repressed emotions and the feelings that never got to be, experienced, and the thoughts that you had about someone, but that you, more than anything, you just kind of enclosed. You didn't want that thought to come in because you may have deemed that it was bad. So it is within your dreams that these, very interesting characters come through. And I mean, everyone's dream world is so different. It's personal, but it's also collective. And your unconscious will utilize different images in your external reality. Um, like, let's say, like for me, it would be like my brother or my what's a symbol that, like, the other day I got a rose that came forward, and that's very symbolic for me. But the unconscious will utilize, your external that you have a very strong association with to bring something forward, to try and reveal to you something. Something. Now, I want to emphasize within the imagination and within your dreams, within fantasy, and within all of the chthonic and chaotic images that come forward, that these are all, this is a symbolic way in which your unconscious speaks. It's very, everything is just symbolic. So even if you have like these, I'll give you an example. Even if you have intrusive thoughts, as if you are, just for an example, you're driving down the road and you have this intrusive thought that you're going to run into, another car, or you're going to, oh man, this is kind of dark, but I'm just going to say it because I feel like we do need to start to speak as if the darkness isn't taking over, and like we can get a better grasp on the darkness. So I'll just say, a woman who has just had her baby, and she loves her baby so much, but she has these intrusive thoughts that she wants to kill the baby, to do something very terrible to the baby. I had a cheer coach who, she ended up actually putting her baby in a microwave, and that's common. That was real life. Now, that was her darkness taking over her. Okay, so let's take control of our darkness and the intrusive thoughts and the fantasies, whether they're, of a higher expression or a lower expression. Let's do our due diligence. And in my last video, like I said, consciously choose to build a relationship with the unconscious so that we don't get taken over by it. Utilize these images that we see in our mind's eye and experience them as, in the symbolic language that they are. Experience them, living through us as something that wants to support the inner work journey. It's not trying to take over us too much. So, okay, I'm getting off track. So what I'm trying to say is we have the imagination, and we also have the, our dreams. And when those come forward and express themselves, it's not kind of, it is our job to actually utilize those images and those symbols and pull them and wield them into our now and work with them. Now, to move on to the body actually is a beautiful, mediator between the unconscious and the conscious mind. And this is where I do a lot of my work with my clients, my one-to-one work. If you're interested, look at my pinned comments, or just follow me on social media, and I post all of the Instagram, and I post all of my different videos of how I actually work with the body. So the body is the vessel. It is the conduit which spirit expresses itself through. And the way to gain access to the unconscious through the body is actually through, let's go to more of an Eastern, the Eastern philosophy, which is, the chakras. And if you are blocked in any one of your chakras, and you can gain access to those and work with that specific chakra, and you can do, work on that chakra depending on what it is. I'm not going to go into it because there's way too much, but I'll make a video on that later. So you have your blocks within your body, but then you also, we can go into, this is a bit more of, this kind of transitions into transpersonal psychology a little bit, but this is bioenergetics and Alexander Lowen, the way that he works with the body and the way that he allows the body to express is releasing the chronic tension that is stored within the body. So looking at the density and the stress, the tension, the buildup of the body. I used to be really heavy into bodybuilding. I competed, and my body literally, because it was a very egoic direction, my body literally stored unconscious material in my legs and in my shoulders. Like, it was just so meaty. It was so big. And all the unconscious and shadowy material was stored in my body. So I had to do a lot of body work, and I actually stopped, fitness for a very long time. And anywho, it's not about me. It's about working with the unconscious, working with the darkness in the body. Now, again, I said the body is a conduit, so it's within the blocks, or it's within the tension that the body carries and stores. And it is only through, really working on the body and sitting with the body that you can build that golden bridge from your conscious mind to the unconscious with specific body parts. Now, that is a very large overview of all of the different ways that you can, 3 different ways that you can work with the unconscious and wield its power, because the unconscious is that reservoir that is going to constantly produce just such beautiful, new, um, it's going to produce new consciousness. It's going to produce new structures. It's going to alleviate the body, and it's going to give you greater access to yourself. So, I hope this video, more than anything, I just wanted to give you an overview of different ways that you can access the unconscious. Let me know if I've done that for you. Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, connect with me, find me on Instagram, and I will see you in my next video.